were some great games released in 1986, and this is not one of them. But you know, that doesn't mean it's without merit. You have to be tough to play this game. You have to drink whiskey for breakfast and eat suffering for lunch to play this game. Sure, it's ugly, it's simple, it's repetitive, but hey, that's life on the streets. If you don't see the honor in that, you have no chance of ever becoming an urban champion. Let's get business out of the way for a minute. This game sucks. The design's bad, the gameplay's bad, the goddamn lampposts are bad. But you know, if I've learned anything on the streets, it's that bad sometimes means good. And in a way, Urban Champion is so unbelievably, deplorably bad that it's good. The premise of Urban Champion is one of the coolest I've ever seen in a video game because it leaves so much to the player's imagination. The game loads up with you standing in front of the snack bar. You're wearing green pants, and you're being assaulted by some asshole with green hair. At no point does Urban Champion deem it necessary to provide any more details than that. This game maintains a need-to-know relationship with the player, and the only thing you need to know is that things are about to get real ugly. Now, even by the standards of early NES games, one could argue that's a pretty weak premise, and that's why I like to make things up while I'm playing Urban Champion. For example, during this particular playthrough, my character was shopping for candy inside the snack bar, but after a heated argument over the price of gummy bears with the owner, a Lithuanian candy mogul, violence erupted. Backed into a corner, my character had no choice but to cripple him with a steel chair and hook up with his daughter. Of course, now he's being hunted by the Lithuanian candy monopoly, which in a totally unrelated plot is cloning people with green hair. Clearly, the streets are dandy with the scent of murder, sex, and candy in Urban Champion. But, obviously, the gritty urban realism of Urban Champion isn't gonna be for everyone. And unfortunately, the gameplay mechanics are even simpler than the premise. You move with the D-pad, you can punch either hard or quickly, and high or low, and you can block incoming punches. Using those moves, your objective is to knock your opponent to the side of the screen, and eventually into the sewers. That's literally all there is to it. You see, Urban Champion's design was actually based on an old Game & Watch game called Boxing. And as a game meant to be played in short bursts, the mechanics made more sense. But on the NES, something is definitely lost in the translation. Of course, Kevin disagrees, don't you, Kevin?
Yeah, sorry, Derek. I'm not with you at all on this one. And I'm afraid I'm gonna have to punch you into a sewer hole later.
Now, to be fair, a lot of classic console games are built upon simple concepts, but there's a difference between the simple design of a game like, say, Pac-Man or Donkey Kong, and that of Urban Champion. See, simplicity only works if the core mechanic, even by itself, is strong enough to engage the player. You just can't stop playing Pac-Man or Donkey Kong after you start, even though what you're actually doing doesn't really change. Likewise, what you're doing in Urban Champion doesn't really change, but it doesn't really hook you either. The game hedges its bets on the idea that trying to defeat identical enemies in identical levels won't bother you because you'll be too busy trying to beat the clock and preserve your fighter's stamina. But in reality, you're too busy making up stories about Lithuanian candy cartels to really care. Given the nature of the game, I'd say the comment bears repeating, this game sucks. But you know, I still own a copy, and from time to time, I still plug it in my NES and give it a few haymakers. At least for a few minutes and a few laughs. There's no way around it, it's a pretty bad game, but in a lovable sort of way. And hey, if throwing punches in front of a bookstore is up your alley, you just might have what it takes to be an Urban Champion.